I guess you are all in the United States, so I have to tell you good afternoon or good morning.
No, I'm from Bet Shemesh.
Ah, you're in Bet Shemesh. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, because I'm speaking English, I was something. So, Erev Tov to everybody.
We're also in England.
You're also in England. So, what's England? Good afternoon. Whatever. Shalom Rav lekulam. So, thank you very much for organizing this meeting. And just want to give you a little bit of the last numbers that we have got with our organization. It's an organization who started after Yom Kippur War. And we didn't start it as an organization. But I got a lot of phone calls from people in Europe, Switzerland, Israel. This time that there was a very, very large amount of poverty in the country. I used to work in this time in Sharet Tzedek, and I saw the people who are coming. And even when it came to the delivery room, I saw sometimes ladies were coming and the way they were dressed and they were underfed. So I told them, if you want, you can do something. But I told them, if we start something, it's under one condition, we don't stop. So they decided in Lucerne, it was a very, very small community, which is not existing anymore, but decided to adopt 3 families. Were very nice things. At this time, they gave 100 Swiss francs, which was something like $100. And slowly, when they saw after a few months that it's working, they tried to persuade the people in Zurich to go with that also, and then to Lugano, and it went to England. At this time, Rav Eli Munk from Zatzal, from the Golden Skin community, was retired from the Rabbanus in England, and he came to Israel, and he heard that I'm doing kind of charity, and he called me. He would like to be a part of it and to help. And in any case, it gave me a big help from England. Alas, Rabbi Munk was very, very soon after we met. But in England, we got help, and then it started with Switzerland and other countries in Europe, till I decided that the right place to get help is the United States. It took me many, many years to come to the conclusion, but it was definitely a very good step. And now we have some kind of 20 communities all over the United States and Canada who are helping on a mensual basis and helping us to keep the families. Today, our organization is close to, sorry, but I don't want to make a mistake, to $1,800,000 a year. What? It's close to $2 million, $2 million a year. And I would say for sure that most of the money come from the United States, but a lot come from Europe also, and a lot also from Israel. We have many, many people who are helping here in Eretz Israel. We have a monthly distribution to families who have chronic problems. It can be widows, widowers, people, ladies who are divorced and they have not any kind of, not emotional and not financial support. Families where one of the parents are sick, and it's a big hard on the family to deal with the disease, and the father or mother who cannot work or who cannot function. And sometimes families where children are sick. And we do adopt them. That's what people do, adopt them, by giving a certain amount in money, which can be people with gigantic problem, may get $500 or $700 a month. On top of that, we have two large distribution on the time of the Chagim. This is another list where people who can make meets end all year, but when it comes to Yom Tov, they are not able. And this also take a big part of our budget. Sometimes we also have emergency call when people need extra money, any problem with a child, whatever life can bring, and people cannot afford it. I want to mention that everybody who is working here and in the United States are volunteer. The whole work, or 97% of the work is done by volunteers. The only people who are getting a salary is the people who are doing the bookkeeping, because the bookkeeping and all what to do with money has to be done on a professional way. I've seen that the only way it can work here in Israel, because we have to do also with the taxes, and all over the United States also. For bookkeeping, we generally are taking somebody who is a professional, but it's really the only thing that we are spending money on. So I would say that 97% of the income to the tzedakah is going to the families. The volunteers, nobody is paid. So that's a very important point to us. I'll tell you about one family. It's a family
Rebbitzin, you've frozen.
Hello?
Okay, come back. You froze. It's okay.
Right now, the father is getting, is invalid. He has got depression, and I think also problems with his bowels, like which really disturb him very, very much. And I've got a son, which is already 24, but he's schizophrenic and he's still at home, and it costs a fortune for the parents to keep with him. I have another son was got autism disorders, autism spectrum disorder. So for one family like that, it's unbelievable what they have to give out for medical treatment. And these are the kind of families that we're helping monthly. Sometimes it's one of the parents who is sick. Sometimes it's also ladies who are alone because they're widows or they're divorced. It can happen that it's happened to a man also, or families where it is very, very big tough on the budget of the family. Everything that we need, we get in writing or by a medical authority, doctors or hospital, or any kind of report, medical report. And if the problem is a social problem, so we always ask also letters from a social worker who works with the community. It's very, very important to us to have everything in files, and everything should be correct. And once in a year and a half, we go through all the cases and see if we do go on with the same family. We ask the family to send a new report to make sure that that the things are in order. The needs are very, very big, and now especially, and with the crisis, it makes it worse. A lot of people have lost their jobs, have lost their work. And when there are emergency situations, we also try to help as much as we can. So I really would like to thank everybody who is listening to me. The help is wonderful. And I'm sorry that you cannot feel it, like our people are asking me that we are really saving situation. And children, not a lot of children to go on with life. I just have so the that we can do. And I'm extremely thankful to you to go on with this work. Thank you very, very, very much. And
Thank you very much, Rebbitzin. Ladies, I'm muting all of you, and I'm going to request you, please do not unmute yourselves. Okay, now over to Rav Gav. Rabbi, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, ma'am. Finally, my wife says I'm not allowed to talk until told. Now you tell me. All right.
Thank you.
It's tough for me not to, to be on mute over here. I'll tell you an amazing thing that I heard. I first want to give a tremendous shout out to Rebbitzin Bambi. Forgive me, I don't know your last name. I don't think the world knows it. It's a hidden name, but tremendous. Just kol hakavod. I mean, this is truly unbelievable. Not a. When somebody says unbelievable, we say it very loosely, but it really is unbelievable. When I was shared, I was contacted by Mrs. Baskin. I don't know if anybody knows, one of the great volunteers that helps make this thing run. We used to work together many years ago, and when I was told what you do and where it comes from, and I had the privilege of speaking for your organization a couple of years ago as well. It's truly unbelievable. It really is. It really is amazing. And you should have many, many more years of hatzlacha, bringing hatzlacha to people who need hatzlacha. Amen. Okay, let's get cracking. So I just wanted to talk a little bit. I know you're all here because you're very into astronomy and astrology. I'm seeing a lot of famous names here that are in the astrology world. So forgive me if I say something wrong over here. I wanted to talk a little bit about the sun. The sun is actually quite incredible. And it's amazing to note that there's a lot of energy that comes from the sun. The sun has got a lot of energy. I forgot to say hello to everyone. Hello, everyone from all over the world, wherever you may find yourselves. I guess I'm hanging out in my normal place, my blue green screen. That's where I always am since Corona, otherwise known in Israel. And I think, as I heard, England and perhaps other places of Europe and the United States. And it is really, truly a remarkable thing. And thank you, Joyce, for spreading the word and spreading the light. So let's talk about light. Let's talk about energy. Let's talk about power. So there's we all need to use energy. I mean, that's how we survive. That's how we get through our day. We got electricity and we got, I don't know, whatever else we got. There's a lot of stuff that we use. We use a lot of energy. That I didn't look into that much. But we use a lot of energy. How much energy do we use over a year? Over 1 year? And when I ask this question, I mean all human beings in the world, how much energy do we use a year? The answer is, get ready for it. This is going to mean nothing, what I'm going to say, unless it's going to mean something. 410 quintillion joules. That's right. You heard it right. 410 quintillion Jews. Now I know you, not Jews, joules, Joules, joules. Now that's a lot. How much is a quintillion? So you maybe know, you've heard of 100, 1,000. As you know, the budget is 1.6 for $1.8 million. How about a billion? A billion would be, I think, 9 zeros. A quadrillion would be 15. And when you get to a quintillion, that's 18 zeros. Chai, 18 zeros. But it's not chai, because it's many more chais. It's 410 quintillion joules. That's a lot. It's a lot of energy. The world's using a lot of energy. That's every year. The sun the sun gives off not 410 quintillion joules, but 430 quintillion joules every single hour. In 1 hour, the sun gives off more than enough energy that we need for the whole world for an entire year. I mean, that I think is pretty impressive. That's powerful. The sun is a force to be reckoned with. You don't look at the sun. Remember there's like one of these things happened a couple of years ago, the lunar eclipse thingamajig. I don't know what it was, but the whole world went to buy on Amazon those glasses so you could look, or you get a box and you put a box in a box and you can look through the box as long as you don't look while looking. And if you don't look while looking, you'll be fine as long as you're not looking. The whole thing didn't make any sense. And then what happened, the sun got completely blocked in certain states in the United States and certain parts of the world that you couldn't see. You could see it was blocked by the moon. Unbelievable, incredible. You look at the sun, I mean, it's you don't look too long, because if you look too long, it'll damage your eyes. For the English people out there, first of all, I apologize, because I know this is a sore topic to you. I'm discussing the sun, and you haven't seen it in many, many years. I know that there's a class action lawsuit against Annie, I believe, all the women all the people in England, because Annie said the sun will come up tomorrow, and it simply hasn't. And so they've been, there's a suit going on. If anybody wants to join, you're welcome to. It's unbelievable, so much so that the English people know what I'm talking about. I was in England and I saw this. I was shocked. Daily that they give, everyone has. Okay, I'm American. We call vitamins, right? I think you call it vitamins. Did I say that right? Vitamins, right? So English people, you know what I mean. I saw families like it's in the morning. You have your breakfast, you have your vitamin D, like it's normal. You pour a cup of vitamin D and you chug that thing. I was like, what are you giving each other vitamin D for? First of all, it's a vitamin. I don't know what a vitamin is, but you give the kids when they're little, you do that. No, when you're like 40, you're drinking vitamin D because there's no sun, because the sun has healing properties. And the sun gives over so much energy, and the sun gives over life. And we have this incredible stuff, right? Maybe you've heard of the magic called photosynthesis. What is it? I don't know either, but it's amazing. Okay, the plant turns towards it and it has all right, we get it. We all went to primary school biology, but it's amazing. It's an amazing thing, the sun. Powerful. But the sun is nothing compared to the Or HaGonus Letzadikim, the great light that was created at the beginning when the creation of the world. You see, the Lord created a light that was so powerful and so spiritual and so unbelievable that he said, you know what? I can't give this to everyone. I can't just give this light to everyone. This is too much. Excuse me, this is too much? What about the 430 quintillion joules? Is that not too much? An hour, it's every single hour. It says, yeah, I mean, that's a lot, but it's nothing like the Or HaGonus, the hidden light that God is going to reveal to the great sages, for the tzaddikim. It was hidden and set aside for the great tzaddikim. We get a glimpse of that light. We get a glimpse of that light a number of times a year. As a matter of fact, 8 of them, 8 times a year. And that is the light of Hanukkah. We know that Or HaGonus L'Tzadikim, the light of the tzaddikim that lit up the whole world, that was so special, that God said, I want to put it aside for only my great and holy righteous people. It only was in the world for 36 hours. From the beginning of creation, for 36 hours. Unbelievable. I need to count something. Give me a chumash. Is there a chumash over here? Give me a Bible. Find me a Bereshis. So for 36 hours, the Or HaGonus existed. And then God said, I'm going to hide it. I'm going to put it aside. Chanukah time, Chanukah, says the Lord, I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna open it up. But you have to be discerning. You have to be able to catch it. Precious, right? You have to be able to catch it. It's not so simple. When do we catch these 36 hours of light? We get them by the Hanukkah candles. What's the 36? 36 are the 36 candles, right? I see some of you know what I'm talking about. You've heard of Hanukkah. Excellent. 36 candles. I'll do the math. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8. I'm going to guess, I hope, is 36. And we know that the number 36, and some of you are like, wait a minute, I thought it's 44. That's what the shamish. That's what the shamish is, 44, because every day you light a shamish, that's 8. So 8 plus 36 is 44, let's say, right? So that's what we have. Unbelievable. Thank you for that acknowledgement, right? So this is it, 36. What's 36? Besides being my address, I don't want to brag. 36 is a very holy number. 36 hidden tzaddikim, the Gemara tells us. There's 36 hidden tzaddikim in the world. There are 36 candles. There are 36 tractates in the Babylonian Talmud. You see, the hidden light that are for the tzaddikim was hidden within the Torah itself. Torah Sheba'al Peh. Torah Sheba'al Peh is something which is so holy that only a Jew is allowed to be connected with. Give me 1 second. I want to count something. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 25. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah, okay, good. I'm glad I counted. I would have said something wrong. But if you take a look, you'll see, I'll tell you where I was going to go with this, is that we know that Hanukkah is the 25th Chav Hei, Chanukah, right, the 25th of the month of Kislev. And if you take a look in the Holy Bible, I got one right here, the Blue Stone edition. You can look yourselves. I don't know if your edition has the same thing, but if you count 25 words from the beginning, it's the first time you have the word or that comes, the word light, which comes up on the 25th. And that's on Hanukkah when we bring out that light. And we go ahead and we try to unleash it. A non-Jew is not allowed to learn the oral Torah. Only a Jew is allowed to learn the oral Torah. The written Torah, it's out there. Non-Jew is allowed to, but only a Jew is allowed to learn the oral Torah because it's something which is a deep, private connection and relationship. It's symbolic of those 36 hours. It's symbolic of that light. And that's the 36 tractates that we spoke about. The 36 tractates that we go ahead and then we try to delve into to really understand what's going on. So you start to see something pretty amazing. You know, we light the lights on Hanukkah. And for those who are a little off in the calendar, by the way, the reason I'm talking about this is because we had Hanukkah recently. But I'm not here to talk about Hanukkah. I'm here to talk about after Hanukkah. You know, I made a video a bunch of years ago on h.com called, I actually don't remember what it's called. I think it was something like Hanukkah, the lonely holiday, right? It's all by itself. It's in the darkest part of the year. The winter solstice, it's when everything is becoming, it's very dark and it's by itself, right? There's nothing around it. And it's interesting that it's at the end of the month. It's usually holidays are in the middle of the month, right? Or Rosh Hashanah is in the beginning, but the end of the month, what's going on over here? And so we light the light in the darkness in order to bring light and to change the world, really, to really make an impact in the world. So we go out and we light that up, and it's not so hard. There's an excitement. There's a palpable joy that you find in Hanukkah. There's a palpable joy. After Hanukkah, there's the depression of how many donuts you ate. I know. But on Hanukkah, you don't have that depression. The first day is exciting, and the second day is exciting, and the third, it's excitement, it's joy. It's just like we get to look at the fire and enjoy ourselves. And you know, families come home early and they spend time together and we get to just pour oil all over our bodies. It's great. It's great. Do you not have that minhag? Is that my own minhag? Anyway, the point is, it's just a great time. And if anybody took part of the Hanukkah challenge, it's when you're supposed to eat a donut every day, the amount that you lit candles. So first night you eat 1 donut, the second 2, and so on and so forth until you get to 36 donuts. It's godless. You have to reach. It's really godless. You're very gadol after that. You become very, very big. I don't just mean ruchnius. I mean just you become big. Just actually you become big. But that's not the hard part. You see, the hard part is not to light fire because we're all a bunch of pyromaniacs at the end of the day. I mean, if you really, come on, let's figure it out. Everybody loves fire. I know it's dangerous. Be careful, whatever. But are we not enamored? Are we not? Isn't that something when you walk by, you look at it and you're like, what is, you just take time to look at it. Like, what is fire? It's unbelievable. It's one of the things in nature that exists that doesn't exist. It doesn't take up any space, but it takes up all the space. It's just an amazing existence. And I don't know where I spoke about this. I know some time recently I discussed this topic. What I'm going to tell you right now, just this one point. I don't know who I said this to. I can't remember. When you get to my age, but I'll tell you, I was, anyway, I'm past 36 already. It's unbelievable. Look at the Oregonas. Look at the white. Anyway, the point is that anyway, the point is that I was speaking recently about the concept of, it's not just fire, it's the basic elements of existence that enamor, at least myself. And I believe perhaps you can relate to this as well. And feel free to nod and not make me feel uncomfortable here if you can relate to what I mean. You go to a desert. I went to Mitzpeh Yericho recently. Mitzpeh Yericho, for those who've never been, I mean, it's chock full of history. It's amazing. Just historically, you see Yericho, you see Jericho, and you see, it's amazing. Whatever, go, get a tour guide and go. Again, if you're not in Israel, I guess it's far, and I don't think you're going to get in the country. And even if you're in Israel, we're on lockdown. So you know what? Forget that. But at one point in time, you should really check it out. And I was there about 3 weeks ago. I went to Yericho, and you look over, you see the desert. Now, from my house, I see the desert. I live in French Hill, and literally, if you stood outside of my house, you look behind my house, you could see the Dead Sea. It's really, I said to my wife today, we're driving down towards our house before the lockdown. We drove after also, but this was before the lockdown. We're driving down, and I'm overlooking Jordan and just the desert and the Dead Sea. And I said to my wife, it never gets old. We've been living in this neighborhood for 12 years. Every day I drive, I look at this, I'm like, it never gets, just unbelievable to look like there's the desert. I tell my kids sometimes, I don't know if they listen to me, but I say it, you learn about Chumash, you learn Navi. What do you mean you learn it? It's right there. You talk about Yericho, you talk about the concept of like the Yarden, the Jordan River. It's there. We live the stories, and they're right there. It's like, it just blows my mind. Okay, I didn't grow up here, so I'm not used to it. I was like, okay, Tati, whatever. We got to make the bus, I'm like, what do you mean? There is no bus. It's a lockdown. But the point is that it's just amazing. What is it about the desert? What is it about the desert that's amazing? It's just sand. I don't know. It's just this, you get the dunes, you got the stuff. It's the stuff for the dunes and the sand. It's just the basics, the elements. It's amazing. How about a tornado? When you get to see like the crazy power of a tornado, doesn't it grab your attention? It's like you see the trees being thrown and cars flying everywhere. Sometimes cows are just in the air if you're from like Omaha. It's just unbelievable. It's just an unbelievable sight. And the ocean, you go to the ocean, you can sit by the ocean. I don't know about you, I could sit by the ocean for hours. I got to watch out for the sun, I guess, right? But the ocean, amazing. And fire. The basic elements of existence, dirt, wind, fire, water, the essence of who we are, of what we are. The Vilna Gaon goes into this in detail, which I'm not going to do right now, but the Gra, Rabbi Eliyahu ben Shlomo Zalman, a great sage. He lived from 1720 to 1797, let's say, really could be 95, 94, it's debatable. But the Vilna Gaon actually brings out, he has a whole piece discussing the 4 elements, how it connects to the human body and the different midos and character traits that people have. It's a phenomenal piece, which I encourage everyone to look into. It's who we are, so we get pulled in by it. But do we connect to it? The answer is we're enamored by it. But do we connect to the energy? And do we harness that energy? And do we do something with that energy? It's one thing to get excited. It's one thing to get lit up, I am alive 420, 30 days, 50 days. I don't know the words, but the point is, I know I'm alive, right? And we get excited about things and it's amazing. Now what? So now you got excited. You take a look at an organization like this, and you see the difference between somebody who got excited about something and somebody who got excited and did something with it. It's one thing to get excited, and we all get excited. At various times in our lives. We have moments that we have sparks, and those sparks get us, a little bit. What do you do with the spark, though? Do you let it just go out? Do you let the spark just go out? Or do you say, oh, got that spark? That spark is meant to turn on the engine. Now, nowadays, I don't know who's here and how wealthy you are. You know, it's in person. You know what, I'll ask you. Show me, for those who I could see. If I can't see you, you don't have to turn your camera on, especially if you shouldn't, please don't. But I encourage you to if you'd like to. But just could you show me, how do you start a car? Show me how you start a car. Show me. Let me see how you do it. Okay, some of you don't drive. Okay, I see. We got a couple of these. Oh, I got some of those. I see one of those. Right. Charles, bring around the car. Okay. I see a very wealthy bunch here. And don't forget 1.8 million budget, if you can help us out a little. But anyway, the point is, you turn on a car. So I'm going old school. I'm going like early 2000s, okay? And you go like this, you put the key in and you turn the thingamajig, and the thingamajig causes the bingajig go with the flimminajig, like your mechanic tells you. And then what happens? The car turns on. You see, the car turns on from a spark. That's called a spark plug. You have a starter and then you have a spark plug. There's a spark plug that creates, quite literally, an explosion, but not an explosion that your car explodes, right? But an explosion that what ends up happening is that it causes you to get to a point. Oh, you know what? I'm not in charge of something. I'm going to say, Joyce, you're running the show here. You have control.
Yes.
Other people, I don't have to be the center of attention, but it's a thing. I have a self-esteem issue. You could, if you want, you could click the 3 things on my whatever, and you could spotlight me, and that'll make me big for people if they want to find me. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? You find me, look where I am, 3 dots on the top, click the 3 dots, it'll say spotlight, press spotlight, and bam, then you hit the spotlight.
Okay, I'm looking.
Okay, if you find it. If not, it's fine. I'll stay a small box. It's all right. I'll hang out in small box land. All right. So what happens is that oh, now you're it. You did it to you, I think. You're the main one now. So click. I don't mind seeing you big. That's great. This is great. Oh, now we got someone else. No, click me on the 3 dots.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, whatever. We'll figure it out another time. All right. So here's the point. Point is that without that spark, you can't start the car. But when you have that spark, something else has to grab in order for now the car to start. You have to have something. The spark just gets you going. When we light the lights of Hanukkah and we have that moment when we are enamored and we're taken by it and we're just feeling it and it's just amazing. It's just incredible. Now, what do you do with it? Now, what do you do with that feeling? Do you just let it go until next time? Right? Do you just let it just flow or do you try to take that and harness that energy and harness that power and do something with it? Do something with it. That's what we're trying to do over here. What we're trying to accomplish is to not just be taken and not just be enamored and not just be, this amazing whatever, but actually being able to go ahead and take this and be practical with it. That means on the ground, what are we going to do with it? And that's, like I said, like this organization, it really is it's just incredible. It just flows. It just flows. It's somebody who says, I'm sparked by a issue that's going on, and I'm not just going to go, tisk, tisk. Oh no, that's so bad. Let's say Tehillim. What's for lunch? Now, by the way, I'm not saying not to. Tehillim is great. Tehillim is earth-shattering, but it also is helpful to do more than just that. Now, if that's all you can do, don't underestimate the power of it. I refer you to another class on Torah Anytime I gave about the power of tefillah. That's a different discussion. I'm not underestimating that power. Just the opposite. The power of tefillah is really what makes everything flow. But what I am saying is that we have to try to do as much as we can. At the end of the day, Hashem runs the world. Like the Mishnah says in Perkei Avos. Kol ha'oskim imatzibor, anyone who does anything for the congregation. You oskem yimayim l'shem shamayim. Do it for the sake of heaven. Do it for the right reasons. Ve'atem ma'ale ani aleichem sechar harbe ki'ilu asisim. And you, I'll give you a lot of reward as if you actually did it. In other words, what that means is at the end of the day, Hashem runs the world. Right? Hashem does it all. Hashem takes care of all business. But he allows us to be part of the process. He allows us to actually be part of the system. And then if we do that, then okay, I'm going to give you schar as if you actually did. I'm waiting for you to do something, though. But everyone in their small little thing, everyone in their small little way. Like you take a look at one organization. I was speaking with, forgive me, I just don't want to pronounce your last name wrong, Rebbetzin Joyce, right before the call. How we have people that she started an organization to go ahead. And I made it to the big screen. I made it to the big leagues. Okay, whatever. I don't know. Thanks for the message.
All the time.
Okay, great. I didn't realize, you see, sometimes you look at yourself like you're small and you don't realize you're really big. Okay, anyway, so back to our message here. You started sparks of light. Is that what it's called? Like things I did. And then all this.
Inspiration.
All right, inspiration, sparks of inspiration, drops of inspiration, drops of sparks of lights of inspiration. The point is that we go ahead and we start something, and before you know it, you have tens of people, hundreds of people, thousands of people that just want to grow. And what did it take? What it took is, let me do something. Lo medrash shua ikar ela hamaisa. The Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, chapter 1, Mishnah 17. The medrash, the learning, the sitting and discussing, the thinking, the darshaning, that's not what the main thing is. The Mishnah says 117, Aleph Yud Zayin if you prefer. Shimon Beno, it says Shimon ben Gamliel, but rather Hamaisa, action. So the Gemara of Kama for those who want to check it out. I'm assuming you won't, but so I could probably make it up. But the Gemara is telling us nonetheless is that it's about action. Get up, stand up, and we've got to do something. Even the light of Hanukkah, you got to light it. You got to light it. If you don't light it, it's not going to light. It's not going to light. It's very nice to want it and just and will it to be. And I hope it lights this year. You gotta prepare. You gotta set the candles together, put the wicks in, put it up there, put the oil, and bam. Or you can get the fancy schmancy stuff now. Where you I don't even know what it is anymore. I personally like old school. I love preparing the Hanukkah candles. It's a very important thing to me to prepare it. And I'll tell you why I love it so much. Because, okay, I don't want to actually get so much into why I love it so much. It's a Rambam, but it also based on a Gemara about the Maimonides. Maimonides was a great sage. We mentioned the Vilna Gaon. That's the 1700s. Maimonides goes back a couple of years. He was from 1135 to 1204. He accomplished a lot in a half hour. But Maimonides goes ahead and he brings out the concept about how preparing the candles himself, hadlaka, the hatovas aneros is even the mitzvah itself, just the preparation. Preparation itself is what brings you to the next stage. We've got to prepare ourselves. We got to get up and do something about it. It's not just about thoughts, it's not just about discussions and talking. We know what is the symbol of a Jew. Who is Avraham Avinu? Emor ma'at v'aseh arbeh. I think there's a songwriter nowadays that says aseh, 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 aseh arbeh, aseh toras chekeva. Yeah, I think that's how it goes, right? Emor ma'at v'aseh arbeh. Right? Speak a little and do a lot. Speak a little and do a lot. That's what it's about. But I wanted to take as the impetus to this, that's Hanukkah. Hanukkah is the fire. And then we're meant to go and take it beyond that and make sure that we're able to go beyond just this little idea of what can I practically do right now to have an impact in the world. Because everybody has moments where they feel that they should be doing something. Everybody has moments where they feel they should be doing something. So the question is, so what do you do when you have those moments? Okay, some people start organizations. Some people say Tehillim. Some people give money to help. Some people do nothing. There's various categories. Which category are you? What do you feel you're drawn towards? Do you feel you're drawn towards doing nothing? Nobody's drawn towards doing nothing. That's automatic. We don't want to do anything, right? But we're drawn towards more. We want to go up. We want to elevate. And we have to recognize by focusing on the fire that our goal is to be like the fire. You see, if you look at fire, there's an expression that we know, and we want to try to serve Hashem, to get close to God, that we're meant to do it behislahavus. Hislahavus, lahav is a flame. Hislahavus means to do it with mitabren, with a fire, with a passion. Be involved with it. Get into it. Don't just do things by rote, but enjoy it. Think about it. Jump into it. just like the fire is jumping, jumping, jumping. Fire never gets tired. Fire never gets exhausted. Fire keeps going. Fire looks for whatever resource it can in order to stay alive. Fire looks to conquer. Fire looks to usurp. Okay, I have to throw in my little word there. To usurp and commandeer whatever it may, whatever it can go and take. There's no excuses. Fire never says, you know what, flame, I'm feeling a little tired. How about you? Oh yeah, flicker. I'm feeling really exhausted now. How about we just go out? Fire doesn't just go out. Fire is going for whatever it can, and it's spreading and it's jumping. It's trying to get higher and higher, higher and higher. That's what it is. So when we look at the fire in Hanukkah, it's meant to take us and we're like, whoa, there's the oragonus, the hidden light for the tzaddikim. Hey, hatovas haneros, we have to prepare that. We have to light it, focus, learn from it, grow, change, build, create, and make this world different than it is. And that's what we're doing here, people. L'sakein olam b'malchus shakai. That's essentially what we're trying to accomplish over here. What we're trying to accomplish over here is to fix the world. Some people have stolen that expression and said tikkun olam. It's right, it's tikkun olam, b'malchus shakai, in the kingship of the Lord, ultimately Mashiach, to bring that light. Are we bringing the light? Are we part of those that are using this as an impetus for growth? Or are we just, oh, that was nice. Oh, that was exciting. Did you see that fire? Wow. Back to my life of nothingness. Or do I say, no, I want to do something. I want to help. I want to be part of this. I want to be part of growth. My friends, every one of us, and this is like what's so incredible about it, is that we all have the koach, we all have the ability of doing this. Everybody has the ability of doing this. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what age, stage, location, nothing matters. The only thing that matters is that we would like to have an impact on the world in some way. And like I said before, I'm not mocking it. Like I said before, even the most basic and easiest thing of sitting down and opening it to Tehillim and saying the words of David HaMelech, saying the words of King David, have earth-shattering consequences. And consequence is not bad necessarily. Consequence just means a totza'ah, an outcome. We're like, what's the consequence of getting a job? Losing it because of a lockdown. But what other type of consequence is getting a job? Is getting paid, right? That's called a consequence. You can have a good one, you can have a bad one, right? The word consequence is pariv. It's noodles, people. It's fish. It's water. It ain't fleisch. It ain't the milk. Right? It's saying it's just a pariv a word. It's used for negative word. The consequences will be, you'll have an incredible life. That's the consequence of taking a spark and building it. That's the consequence of what we're trying to do over here. So my friends, if I could just try to wrap this up, bring this together, and open it up. I'm told I'm opening it up. We'll open it up to any questions, comments, stories, jokes, attacks. Let's try to put this all together and then open up to anybody's comments. I don't know who's running the show there because it seems it might get a bit wild, but I'll be happy if it's to get crazy. Let's put this all together. So we started up in the beginning, 430 quintillion joules of energy hit the earth every single hour of the day. We use 410 of those a whole year. Unbelievable how powerful the sun is, but the sun is a joke compared to the Oragonos of Tzadikim. The hidden light that the Or will come out on the 25th day because they're connected to the 25th word, which is Hanukkah. And then we go with light and it continues and it grows. Mosif Olich, we go like Beis Hillel, it goes more, 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So finally get the 36 relevant to the 36 hours and to the 36 Mesechtos and the 36 tractates of the Babylonian Talmud, which is the deep relationship between us and Hashem. To number 36, which also happens to be, again, my address, which is number 36, which is also 2 times Chai. I don't know the relevance, but it happens to be 2 times 18. But understanding, my friends, of taking this and igniting it, the elements, how powerful they are, and looking at the fire and learning from it. Don't let Hanukkah leave us. The lonely holiday is meant to be the impetus, a spark in order to start the car. That's what it's supposed to be. It's that spark plug that gets the engine going. And then we take that and we say, wow, look at what the fire is doing. It's jumping up. It wants to grow. It wants to get more. It wants to consume. It wants to overcome. It wants to usurp and commandeer and to conquer. So too, we have to have that mentality. Never getting tired, never giving up, never stopping, only doing until there's nothing left to conquer anymore. And then it says, well, my time is done. Oof. And then it's as if it wasn't. But understand, our goal is to make sure that we were as if it was, that we live our life and we make these decisions and that we continue doing whatever it is that we're doing and doing anything that we can, we feel connected to. So many opportunities and the opportunity all over. And if it's not talking about on a mass scale, it could be on an individual scale. How do we deal with our families, with our spouses, with our children? Do we give our second children lots of money constantly? Do we give our second children a lot of money? My mother's on the call and I'm a second child. All right, everybody, that's a shout out to my mom, right? Do we give our second children lots of money? And the point is that to come to recognize is that what are we able to do and how can we do more? Take this lesson of what the fire is. Take the lesson of what Rebbetzin Bambi did some 40 years ago, right? We're talking out in 50, out of 73 it was, right? You said Yom Kippur War. It was 1973. I got that right, 74, 73. Anyway, I think 73, right? Unbelievable. So we're talking about, that's 47 years ago. Holy moly. I did the math right? I think I'm right. 47, almost 50 years ago. And how many families have literally survived because somebody took a spark and turned it into a fire? How many families are surviving today? And how many of us that are sitting here right now are able to help? To be able to give a little bit, being that you are astrologers and astronomers. I know you're making a lot of money. Write a check. Got 128 people on this call. If each one gives $1 million, you know what? I'm going to give the first. I'm going to give $1. Bli neder. But if we could all give a little bit now, bli neder. Everyone listen, it's on record. But to give something that we're able to be part of this incredible spark, this incredible fire that is consumed in a positive way. So many of Klal Yisrael over almost half a century. You know, I'm probably going to overstep my boundaries now. I'm going to say something I shouldn't say, but I wouldn't be a good speaker if I didn't say something that upset someone. So, okay. And if you don't want to watch me again, then don't watch me again. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I just want to say, listen, if you, please forgive me. It's just the reality. Rebbetzin Bambi, if you've been doing this for 47 years, you're at least 47. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And I'm going to guess you're at least probably in your 50s. How many people do we have in our 50s that are, can you imagine a person in their 50s is still going strong? Maybe even in their 60s. I'm just saying, maybe older than that even. I don't know. I'm not saying, I know you don't talk about age in women. I'm going to get in big trouble here. But I'm saying, how many people, maybe it's different with Europeans. I don't know how it works. But how many people in their 60s or 70s or 80s are still working full time to help Klal Yisrael? Isn't that incredible? And where are we? And where are we? And where are we in this? And where am I? And we have to ask ourselves, are we part of those that are taking the spark and continuing the flame? Or are we, Rahmanu Litzlan, part of those that are taking away the oxygen and knocking the wind out of people that want to do that? So there's no more oxygen, so the fire goes out. Take the fire of Hanukkah and be able to relight it, to be able to see the Ora Gonuz Letzadikim even in our time, during the Hanukkah and beyond. And if we live a life like that, one just mushal is the sun, but the sun is a joke compared to the Ora Gonuz, the hidden light. And every one of us has the koch to do it. So I thank all of you for joining, and I thank all of you for listening. For those who have to run, then you have to run. I was going to say, I understand. I don't understand. We didn't talk about it. I don't know why you have to run. I don't know why you don't have to run. But I'm going to open it right now for a few minutes if anybody would like. Again, I don't know the model here, so I'm going to now give it over to my co-host, Rebbetzin Joyce. Please take it away.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. Ladies, please unmute yourself and feel free to ask a question to the Rabbi. Any questions? You need to unmute yourself first. Anybody?
How many zeros after the $1?
Yeah, there are a lot of zeros. Just happens to be there's a decimal point also, so it's a problem for. I think.
I think what most people are afraid of is that they should know that they don't have to finish the job. They just have to begin it.
Yeah. This is. I mean, listen, you're speaking the most powerful words, like the Mishnah in Avos says, "Lo alechem l'chalug mor, v'lo taben charin l'betel mimenu." Right? The work is not upon us to finish. We're not a free man to nullify ourselves from it. There's a very incredible story that I heard from about Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, who was the Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir Yeshiva. Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, somebody came to him, one of the fundraisers. I know the name. I don't want to. Whatever. I don't have a shush. I didn't ask. It was a well-known fundraiser for the Mir Yeshiva who had raised a lot of money. And he came to Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, and he said to him that he's retiring. You know, he's already in his 70s or so. He's going to retire. So Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel turned to him and said, "Tell me, what's your plan to finish all of Torah?" So he says, "Rabbi, I didn't really have a plan to finish all of Torah. I mean, it's nice to think optimistically, but I'm in my 70s already. My whole life I've been dedicated to raising money for the yeshiva. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to go ahead and finish the entire Torah." So he brought him into his office. He said, "Come with me. I want to show you something." And Rav Nosson Tzvi Finkel, already, I mean, he was nifter when he was young, but it was already towards the end of his life. I think it was his maybe late 50s, early 60s. And he opened up the drawer in his office and he pulled out plans that he had for the Mir Yeshiva for the next 50 years. And he said to him, "You think I'm going to be around in 50 years? I mean, that'd be great, but I don't think I'm going to be around in 50 years. One thing I do know is I have to plan for it. I have to start. I have to be working. I got to be doing. I got to be giving." Wow, you see, someone just verified the story right now. If you look in the chat, true story. It's Rav Nosson Tzvi's daughter says. So I got the story somewhat right, at least. Right? This is. Oh, that's you. It was your father. So then it's the father who said it. But you have to set up the plan. You got to set up the plan and say, what steps am I going to take? And I think like Rebbetzin Bar said, that's so crucial. It's not about finishing. It's not about finishing. It's about let's get started. Let's do what we can. And it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't. It doesn't matter how many college degrees, chas v'shalom, you have or you don't. That is totally, I'm sorry if you're from university, pardon me, excuse me, I said college, excuse me. That's a bit of an insult for some people from England, right? Well, I mean to say, it doesn't matter how many university degrees or how many degrees or anything, whatever. All that matters is that you have a heart. You have a heart that you care, you want to do. And it's got to be herzig, and we got to make sure that we make it from the heart. His lahavus, this fire in this bread. Okay, that's my comment. We don't have to have questions, by the way. It happens. I usually, what can I say? I'm that clear. What can I say?
Okay, thank you. Any more questions for the rabbi, ladies? If you do, then unmute yourself.
Just wondered whether I heard a hint of a Scottish accent along the way.
You heard a hint of a con man. That's what you heard a hint of.
Oh, it's a con man. Oh, I heard a hint of a slight Scottish.
I'm a bit fan of the Scottish, but I'm actually not from Scotland. Over the rainbow, perhaps I'm Irish. But not Scottish.
I'm going to ask Hannah Baskin, can you please put in the chat, Hannah, how people can donate?
You have to unmute yourself also, I think. Okay, I'm going to say it for her. Yes, you will put in the chat of how to do such a thing. And she is now officially unmuted.
Thank you.
Hannah's putting it in the chat now, ladies.
Doris,
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
you asked how many zeros. It's my mom's yard site today. I'd like to donate 180 shekels in honor of her memory.
Thank you.
So much, Seema. That's very kind. Thank you.
Davin Aliyah.
Your mother should have an aliyah.
I want to tell you something just about it. I just don't want to overtalk if people have heard me speak in the past about this. You know, fire is one of the unusual things in the world, that the way the world works is something called gravity, and everything generally falls down. One of the only things, there's a few things like this, gas is like it as well, but one of the few things that goes up is fire. Any direction you hold a fire in, it will go up, which is why we light a yahrzeit candle. When you light a yahrzeit candle, the fire is shooting up, it's trying to go up. It's compared to, we know Chazal say that the neshama is compared to a ner. And that's our neshamas also. It's our neshama as well. It's not talking about a person who passed away either. The neshama is constantly trying to go up. It doesn't want to be here. It wants to be in Shemayim with Hashem.
Yeah.
So when we light the candle tonight, as you probably did already, and you light the ner, to think about the fact that the ner is jumping up and to recognize that's just like the neshama. So not only should this be an aliyah, as you said, for your mother, right? Not only
My mother.
Not only for your mother should this be an aliyah, but for you also it should be an aliyah. It should be an aliyah for your neshama. In Olam Hazeh.
There's not a shame. Someone should merit from it.
Amen.
Thank you.
Anna,
Thank
are you putting in the chat where one can
Yeah,
send?
my computer's not working very well, so I'm just putting my email address. And anyone who wants can be in touch with me, and I'll give them the details.
Okay.
You want me to put it in for you?
Well, we could try that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Or I'll give you a telephone number for Chaya Olivar.
An email would be better, I think, because
Yeah, I put my email address. Does anyone see it?
or both, because we have people from
You
abroad.
sent it to everyone, or you sent it to someone specific? You got to put it to everyone.
No, it's on the chat to everyone, but I
Nothing
don't.
appears. It does not appear.
Okay,
But I'm gonna
Steve-
do
Steve
it.
Baskin,
You
okay,
can put it in the WhatsApp group, Joyce.
Pardon?
Joyce, you can put it in the WhatsApp to everyone.
Not everybody's on the WhatsApp. This is Bambi's a whole separate list. Everybody's on WhatsApp.
Okay, Rev Gav's gonna do it for me.
I'm gonna do it right now. It's C Baskin 9. That's the one.
Right.
Okay, it's right now. It's coming right up. C Baskin. No, don't do C Baskin.
Yes, you can donate to Matan Baseta Bambi, that's fine.
It's there now.
Okay,
Hey, make a note of that. And this is kind of baskin9@gmail.com. You can email her with any questions regarding a donation.
Can you also list Mrs. Oliver's phone number?
02. My computer's not working here. 02
Ready. 02.
652
Yeah.
1263.
All right, in the chat. Who is that?
Chaya Olivar.
Okay, 02-652
1263.
1263.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it. Any more questions, ladies?
I just wanted to say that the amazing thing about fire is, it's like the burning bush. The wick doesn't burn.
Yeah.
It just holds the fire.
Right.
It's the gases from the heat that melt the wax that the fire is burning. So the fire just sort of hangs there. And it's like the burning bush. Doesn't burn the wick.
I'll tell you something amazing about the burning bush. Once we, are on the topic, I heard this from Rabbi Eitan Feiner. He said, when a person, what does it mean when a person has a grandchild? We call it grandchild in Yiddish an enikel. It's an enikel. Why is it called an enikel? It's coming from the sneh, from the burning bush. When Moshe Rabbeinu says that the sneh, there's a fire in the bush, but the sneh einenu ukal. It's not getting eaten up. It's not getting destroyed. Einenu ukal, when you say it quickly, is einikol. Einenu ukal, einikol. Because what happens when a person has a grandchild, now you know that there's going to be the next generation, and it's not eaten up. It continues. And interesting that it also points out. I must point out to Rebbetzin Bar. I think your daughter is Deborah, if I'm not mistaken. Did I get that right? She was my wife's counselor in camp. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but she's my wife's counselor in camp. And David was mine. So you have a lot of yichus going up now, going up. And that's interesting. Why also we put by a funeral, you take a rock. We have a custom of putting a rock. Why do we have a custom of putting a rock? A rock in Hebrew is an even. What's an even? An even is two words put together. Aleph, bet, nun. It's aleph, bet is av, bet, nun is ben. Av, ben, father, son. It shows that it continues on, that it goes on. So sneh unenu ukal, we put down the even. That's one of the reasons why we do such an idea, such a thing. So yeah, very, very good. I'm going to take it that that's all for now, folks. But if anybody wants to be in contact with me, my phone number is 911. Just ask for Officer Bill. And if that doesn't work, you're welcome to reach me at my email. I'll write it in the thing. It's actually pretty complicated. My email is ravgav@gmail.com. However, if I don't respond, it's possible I didn't get it for some reason, as Rebbetzin Joyce can attest to today. But send it twice. Okay, I wish everyone.
No, there's one more thing,
Yeah.
Rabbi, that about fire. It's so fascinating that it never diminishes, and you can light thousands of candles from one fire, and it never takes away from it.
Right. A lot of people think like if I'm giving, I'm going to lose. But the reality is, and that's what we see over here also, just like the fire gives, it doesn't lose anything. It keeps what it's got, but it's able to continue on something else. We can give and we're not going to lose. We're not going to lose anything.
Ladies, thank you so much for being here, for supporting Bambi tonight. We're really, really appreciative. And I look forward to seeing all of you on Tuesday when we welcome Rabbi Rabushkin as our guest. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you, Joyce.
Have a
Thank
great
you, Joyce.
Thank you. Bye-bye.